Hello, vicarious mercenaries, proxy ninjas, and pop culture PhDs. Welcome back for another what we used to call the late night, the after hours edition of the Rec Room. But although we're on summer hours for the time being, so I hope you're doing well. It's gonna be a busy night tonight because we're finally getting something rotated in after rotating out Project Snowblind. So got a whole host of stuff to cover for you tonight, but I'll get to that more in a second. So. We are coming at you from Studio E on Hyperstream 2.1 at the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time hour. And if you are not familiar with the Rec Room, well, whether you are a creator or spectator or somewhere in between, this is your virtual lounge for pop culture randomness, a double dose of gaming, and a excessively variable amount of dry humor. Currently, we've been specializing in strategy, stealth, sandboxes, and shenanigans. So, the plan for tonight, we are actually getting into Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. So, I will get to that in a bit because I've kind of got three things I usually do off the front here. Um, I do try to keep this as casual as possible, and actually, the game we have tonight will help facilitate that a bit. It's not quite as in depth as some of our usual stuff. But first, the rundown. So I got to say, huge thank you to all of you out there and those of you who have recently joined the Crazy Crew and become part of the Rec Room family. So I saw today we got a new add-on over on Odysee. Thank you. And we also have a new add-on over on YouTube. And hard to believe, we actually just broke double digits on YouTube. So it is insane. And for those who've been following along for a while, I have griped and griped and griped and griped about YouTube because the algorithm has been very difficult to fight against because we've been doing this for almost not quite a year and a half, or maybe a year and a third, but that's a while, and we've been doing it pretty consistently. And YouTube has been the hardest to break through as far as audience growth. So thank you for all of you who have helped with that. It's much appreciated. So I also, and this is something I don't normally do. I don't have the means to necessarily address every comment and anybody that comes and goes. And the tough thing is on the platform side, I don't always know who's following, and I know that's for privacy, and so sometimes we can see it. But for consistency, really the only ones I kind of out is pilled family members because there's a lot of back and forth with the community interaction there, so they help share out the show. So in those cases, I like to give credit where credit is due. But with all the others, it's more a consistency thing. So because the others don't show, or like in the case of Twitch does, I'm just trying to follow the same format. So I can't always even call out comments and everything, but I will in this special case because I noticed that Dorian D chimed in on one of our Last Land Standing videos, actually just the recent one we did, and actually after checking his account, it's nice to see that there's somebody else out there who is doing something similar to us. I mean, I have no reason to assume that we're the only game in town in terms of retro. The thing is, with a lot of retro stuff, it's always usually the extra old stuff. Like, it's not old, may not be the right term. I mean, it is probably if it's like 10 years older than you are, 20 years older than you are. But, a lot of the retro gravitates toward Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and so on. There's not much in the same camp as us, like in terms of like the Xbox, PS2, GameCube, 360 era. So Dorian D's got a channel out there on multiple platforms, and he's doing a lot of PS3, PS2 stuff, and he's also had some PS2 Splinter Cell videos. So I appreciate they stopped by, made some comments. So if you're looking for more stuff in the same realm, because we don't get to that stuff quite as frequently, I have no reason to be competitive. I'd always want to help out other creators who are doing that, and they've been around a lot longer than us. So there's actually some other cool stuff out there. So much appreciated in the feedback, and glad to have some other people checking us out. So it's highly appreciated. Let me see if I got anything else on the rundown side. So I guess to talk about stuff we've been doing recently, we had episode 5 of Last Land Standing, so I'll probably mention it during the week because on some platforms it's going to get dropped right away, or it just may not be as easy to find. So we have on our Odysee and our YouTube platforms episode 5 of Last Land Standing, and Twitch it'll be there till just about Saturday-ish because our videos are only live on Twitch for about a week. And Odysee, it's always hit or miss with it and keeping the trending section. So in this case, that episode was not able to hold up very long. So I do have it tagged as one of our highlighted ones for the time being. But in the meantime, otherwise, you can always check our playlist because I do my best to try to keep those uploaded in case you want to revisit previous content. But a lot goes into the last man standing stuff because the key element is trying to get everybody's schedule together. So in the case of the Rec Room episodes, it's just me. I just got to pop on unless I got a new game. There's not much prep work for me to do at this point because I've been pretty happy with how stuff has progressed over the last year plus. But Last Land Standing and Cooperative Laboratory and the eventual Scrapyard sessions that we do, those are going to involve other guests, other players, and it always depends on real world obstacles. Not the right word, just real world responsibilities, family, work, and all that kind of stuff. So it's highly appreciated that not only can our guests participate, but also it's appreciated when you check that out because that's the stuff I really, really want to do, but it's not as easy to get everything lined up. So thank you for those of you who've already checked that content out and continue supporting that. So I think that's it for rundown content as far as under the hood, which is what I talk about, just kind of creative processes going on. So this is not necessarily just a gaming stream. I would love to have this be a lot of discussion about pop culture and creative things too, but that also takes a lot of work. And so at least for right now, this is kind of like the general catch-all kind of show that I do, in which I can give you updates on what's going on in case you're following our other stuff. So we've got a big franchise we're working on called, Firewall Protocol, and the first book, Ascendant Chaos, has been well underway for a very long time, and it's getting very close to hitting the publication threshold. And just over the last few days, I got our intro animation and logo done. Now, you may not see that just yet. That's probably going to go on some of our videos, but you'll probably start to see the symbol and the logo floating around somewhere, and it's actually going to now pop up in our ticker here toward the end. So that's going to go in toward help for the marketing, the visualization, and right now we have our Patreon page where you can get a sneak peek at some of the audio content thus far. So it's good to have that done. Next up for the next few days, I'm going to be working on cover work. So that and edits. And speaking of which, there it is. There's the big new one, and then obviously it's going to flip over to our Patreon URL. But yeah, the cover is a big thing. So I'm not a marketing guy, and trying to do stylization and all kinds of things like that are well outside my realm. I mean, I've spent 14 years doing programming, and then that's not exactly graphics intensive, so trying to do all the stylization that looks cool and which is going to catch your eye, that's not something I'm real strong at. Now, if I have a particular vision, I can get into stuff, but I still need time to do it. And unfortunately, I don't work well with time crunches, and this is turning into a time crunch because essentially the goal is to get this first book published and available to you guys ASAP. So unfortunately, the time crunch is like get it done yesterday, even though I'm the only one that technically is kind of putting the pressure in that regard. But that's the workflow for the next few days here. So that will be going on. And the last thing I usually do is kind of get into some pop culture stuff. And I hinted at last night I was going to get into a couple things. Now, my intent is not to necessarily get into the weeds of fighting game content, but there is a connection here between some of the stuff I wanted to talk about and how it leads into the game that we're going to be working on tonight. So I guess I hope you come prepared because I may have a soapbox or two to get on tonight, and I'll do my best to keep them short. But and some of these are just my own personal pet peeves. I'm not here to throw your favorite game under the bus unless it's for moral reasons. Like, I will throw Call of Duty under the bus and call you a clown for playing it, but at the same time, I'm obviously glad to have you. I sometimes hate on things for the sake of hating on them. But there are other games that for me, like say Smash Brothers, which I kind of get annoyed at, and it's not because it's a bad game. I come from a very, very deep history of fighting games being very influential for probably my first, well, not even my first decade of gaming, but maybe the most influential decade of my gaming. So when a game like Smash Brothers gets thrown into the mix, it's kind of like, okay, I don't call it a fighting game, I call it a party game. So that's kind of like the reason I bring that up is because it's kind of like a trigger in a sense that, if somebody wants to throw down, I'll be like, hey, I could easily get into a debate about it, but it's more for comical reasons. So I mentioned Smash Brothers because one of the games that was recently, well, it's hard to trace the history on this because I didn't play it and I didn't follow it, but Multiversus is the equivalent of Smash Brothers, which had a beta for a long period of time, then closed down, and then finally released, and then now it's finally getting content. And it's like such a wonky model that it was in this massive beta for so long. So the reason I'm bringing that up tonight is because just recently the developer that made them got acquired by Warner Brothers. So you had Warner Brothers in the licensing of their characters, but there's two aspects I want to touch on. The one is the fact the developer's name is called Player First, and for the most part, nothing good has ever come of a smaller developer getting sucked into a larger one. And I will reference EA as I've done many points in time because EA has often absorbed some of their smaller developers only to essentially scalp the IP, bury the developer, bury him out in the backyard, and then it's like then the IP dies, the developer dies, and then the franchise is dead because it's not enough just to throw a bunch of money at a project. Now, the developers, of course, saying it's advantageous, but it's just I find it a bit ironic because again, the player first name. So I think, of course, it's going to be typical corporate shenanigans. And the other aspect is, and this is something that I find very, very kind of disturbing in a sense with multiverses. Now, it's got a lot of things you're familiar with. Bugs Bunny, so you got the Looney Tunes, you got the DC franchises, you got Iron Robot, Scooby Doo. So, I mean, hey, it's kind of clever. Smash Brothers is popular. Why wouldn't they do that with their franchises? What concerns me, though, is that it's typically a very family friendly game, and yet they have the likes of a Game of Thrones character, Jason Voorhees, and Agent Smith. Now, Agent Smith, maybe not as big of a deal, but the point is, all three of those are R rated properties. And it's like, how is it that you take a character from at least two out of the three from extremely gory franchises and put them in a game that is mostly geared toward family? I'm like, I personally have an issue with that. Now, again, if I were an adult playing that, no big deal. You don't care. But I mean, if you're paying attention to what your family does and what they play, it's almost like another grooming mechanism. Be like, oh, that character's cool. What's Game of Thrones about? Or hey, what's Jason and Freddy versus about? Like, so I'm not here to throw my take on the movies at the moment, but I just find it a little off color to be putting mature content characters in a otherwise teen or maybe family, E for everyone kind of game because I don't know what the actual rating is. So anyway, the reason that I bring up is to get into fighting game content because last weekend was Evo, which has been the massive fighting tournament over, I have no idea how many years, probably decades at this point, and that's sometimes where the fighting games will get some of their announcements out. Now, here's another kind of segue into a pet peeve, and I'll get to the real one here shortly thereafter, but they announced that Hayachi Mishima is coming back yet again, this time as a DLC character for Tekken 8. So, it's to me, there's this balance between having a franchise getting stuck on its roots, Batman, and then versus a franchise that constantly goes to the opposite end of the spectrum, is always changing things constantly to the point you can't recognize it, like Mortal Kombat. So it's weird to me with Tekken in a sense that it can't get past its origin, or at least it can't get past its characters that are constantly reused over and over again. You kill them, they're back. You kill them, they're back. You kill them, they're back. And I don't know. It's just, to me at this point, it's just goofy. So Tekken to me is one of those other pet peeve kind of things because for me, Tekken has always been kind of stuck in the PS2 era. Like as a martial artist, I have found their motion capture and the animations to still be clunky. It's like it to me, I don't enjoy watching the visuals, and I think the sound effects are like somebody punching a stack of phone books with tinfoil wrapped around them. So I don't know. Like I said, that's a pet peeve. But it was interesting to see that, hey, yet again, here we are stuck on the same character. So the next piece of fighting game news, which was actually a teaser for a character already announced, which would be Terry Bogard from King of Fighters / Fatal Fury, and he's going to be added to Street Fighter 6. So there's been interesting things before with Capcom and Street Fighter crossovers. So Marvel versus Capcom and both SNK versus, or Capcom versus, can't get my tongue tied here. Capcom versus SNK games have been absolutely awesome. So it's nice to see that there's still a working relationship there. It's just kind of funny that Terry Bogard has this very interesting swagger in the sense that, like, some things don't necessarily translate well when you go from almost like the Japanese version to the English version. So I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. some friends and I used to, make fun of his character because he looks almost like a hobo, but at the same time, he is a super popular character. So I don't need to go into the weeds about some inside jokes and stuff. But it's cool. It is cool to see that working relationship is there, because I think that's leading toward what we're also seeing more of is going back to the nostalgia and the characters and the game mechanics that still work. And also, as an announcement, is SVC Chaos, which was the SNK developed crossover of SNK versus Street Fighter, so to speak, is actually now going to get re-released for PlayStation 4 and others. So that is going to lead into another game we will likely have available for Scrapyard once we get things up and running. So it is cool to see that. There's also the Marvel vs. Fighting collection. So there's going to be a lot of content. And here we are looking at games that are 10, 15, 20 years old, because I want to say Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was 2000. So we're talking 25 years old and older. So the reason this is relevant to the Rec Room is because developers are coming back to older franchises, or at least older games, and saying, well, let's do this because people want to play them. But it's also showing that no matter how much money they're putting into the modern format games, that it's just not working. You're getting some of these high profile titles that are just having so much money thrown at them, and the player base is just not there to support it. So tonight's game reflects that. And I don't know how popular this game is. I don't know how well it's being received. This got announced back in June. And I led in with this with Terry Bogard because Terry Bogard is from SNK developed franchises. Metal Slug is an SNK franchise. And I guess I should go into my history a little bit first. So the crazy thing is, I've been around in the gaming realm since Metal Slug came on the scene. So it was in the mid 90s, the first time I played Metal Slug, and this was so a little personal story here. My very first job was an ice cream parlor that had an arcade in it. So if you can tell me what my motivation was, it wasn't necessarily to make money as much as maybe have access to free games, perhaps. But the thing is, like, they had a Neo Geo at this arcade, and for those not familiar, an actual Neo Geo arcade unit had, at least the common one, had the ability to hold 4 titles. And they would constantly get, rotated in and out. But honestly, most of them never really seemed all that impressive to me, or maybe in terms of who played or which games got played the most. One I remember distinctly was Bust a Move, which was a puzzle-like game, in your Tetris realm. That was very popular, and one of the only other ones that was super popular was the original Metal Slug. I played it, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything that really stuck with me over time because I was in such a fighting game mode back in the 90s. So really, I played Metal Slug 1, and I never touched it again, almost until just really a couple weeks ago. Just recently, we had the announcement, and I've mentioned this on multiple streams, about Metal Slug Tactics, which is coming out sometime between now and the end of the year. So I'm like, hey, I love XCOM. I love the 2-bit, or 2-bit, the 8-bit style of that we've been getting, like with Shredder's Revenge and other titles. So I'm like, that sounds like a win to me. So here I am starting to go gung-ho on Metal Slug. I'm like discovering Metal Slug Anthology. I'm discovering that we're getting there's physical copies out there for some of the other Metal Slug releases. And I'm like, okay, so I tend to be an all or nothing guy. I either want to be into everything of the franchise, or I don't really want to touch it because then it's a distraction. Now, I have made exceptions for that over time because some franchises are just so massive. But that's kind of my default mode. So now that I'm getting back into Metal Slug, I'm starting to enjoy it. And there's plenty of other content that we're going to fire up in terms of co-op and other things by the time some of these other releases happen. So I was kind of surprised to see this announcement for Metal Slug Attack Reloaded just a few weeks ago. And I'm like, I'll check it out. So sometime in June they announced it. And actually when they announced it, there's like, it's up on the store. So they didn't have a build-up time. So I had to kind of sit on this for a bit. I was pretty busy with getting some writing done, and then I'm like, okay, I'll bite. I picked this up, and it's an affordable price. So I did a little research on it, and come to find out, it's a mobile game. So the mobile aspect of it was it got shut down in the beginning of 2023, and it had been running for multiple years. And like I probably didn't learn much about it until actually playing it. So I guess what I'm going to explain here for a little bit is, because some of you may be watching, you're not super, into other formats. I'm somebody who's not. So I guess I'm kind of treating the show as like, here's my understanding. I'm coming from a complete novice to the whole mobile scene into a very common genre within the mobile, platform. Because for my mobile gaming, the only time I touched a mobile game was like when I first got an Android phone, and that's 15 years ago. I was already familiar with the stuff that was going on then, with, hey, like we run this format where you keep getting these points in which will allow you to play, but they recharge on a daily basis. But hey, if you want to play some more, you can pay. Never mind the fact the game is free, but we want to keep controlling how much you keep coming back to this game on a daily basis. So I'm not somebody who's a mobile gamer. So the reason why this hadn't appealed to me is because this is a standalone game. It is a flat price. Now, it looks like there might be add-on content for it, because apparently the original game had about 1,300 characters by the time it closed down, and this is released with about 300 plus. So I would think from a development standpoint, they may want to do some add-ons, but time will tell. So as of right now, this is a flat game, and things I've heard of over the years, in terms of mobile genres. Now you got to remember, developers are like, hey, we don't have a lot of graphics power. How can we make a game fun, playable, but more importantly, in their case, how do we make it addicting so people will continue to play it? Well, games in mobile include things like your Candy Crush variety, endless runners. There's another one I'm forgetting. Your farm sims. Yeah, and there's another one I forgot. But also another common genre was tower defense. I had never played one before. I had heard loosely how it was, from a friend, like, hey, you set up your base and your stuff runs in. So I've never even played a tower defense game before. So that's why I even called this episode 1 Tower What, because I have no idea how this is going to work. All the thing that sold me on the game was this essentially. It's like, hey, it's Metal Slug. Also, it's a flat price and it's now self-contained, because I'm not somebody who's going to sit here and throw money and throw time away at something that is designed to keep you playing all for a dopamine hit, because developers have realized, and they have leveraged as much as possible, the ability for you to play for smaller compressed amounts of time. And then if you're going to get ready to exit their game, like, oh, but don't go, we'll even throw this new time event, here's some more fear of missing out, and here's some more content to keep you playing. Like, even though this is a standalone game, you're still going to be able to see some of these mechanisms which were designed to do that, even though they have restructured this, even though they have rebalanced it, so that it is a full product. But they, of course, still can't replace the underpinnings of how it originally worked. I'll save some more explanation of that once we get in. The only other key piece that I wanted to touch on was something that, if you're mostly just stuck on American games, or I guess Western games, and not into the mobile space, you may not be familiar with the gacha or the gachapon format that has heavily come out of Japan, and I think which is a massive foundation for mobile gaming. So if you're not familiar with that, I'm sure many of you know what a one-armed bandit or a slot machine is in a traditional casino. Well, when I was a kid, we had at your local grocery store, I don't know if a vending machine's the right word, but the machine, you put a quarter in, you turn the knob, and then you get a little plastic capsule with either a sticker in it, a football helmet, or something else. So a gachapon, now it is not spelled Gotcha, gotcha, as in I got you, but gotcha, Gacha, and then the word pawn, but it's commonly referred to as gotcha. So my understanding, and people are free to correct me if I'm wrong, this is just from loose conversation over the years and seeing how it's affected gaming, or from anime culture, a gotcha pawn has the same kind of like collectible item, but it is in extremely tiered categories of normal, rare, super rare. And the thing is, it's popular in their culture. Even if it's not popular, maybe it's because the economy drives it so much, because people are after that. So I don't really know if it's more driven by the consumer or the economics, but the point is, it is a very, very integral cultural thing, and that has been used inside mobile games. That, hey, like, we are going to incentivize you and give you another character, but the thing is, that character is locked behind a random roulette spin, essentially, and, oh, we'll give you a free spin every day, but if that's not good enough for you, you can give us $1 and we'll give you 2 free spins. Or you can give us $5 and we'll give you 20 free spins. And we'll see some of that in this game, that there's characters to unlock, and they are locked behind a virtual currency, so to speak. Now, we don't have to pay for it. There's no microtransactions, but it is still part of how these mobile games work. And there is a time element, not in the sense that you can't get more free ones, but you have to go a length of time, I guess, through playing in order to get more of this currency. And over time, the game will start making the ability to get that virtual currency more difficult. And then here's one of the oddities I found about this game is that it will smack you like a ping pong ball all over the place and be like, hey, here's this world tour mode over here. Go play that. Oh, we're going to lock that out. Go play this story mode over here. Oh, we're going to lock that out. Oh, go play over here and get this done. So they had to try to figure out how to extend the gameplay without having their pay for mechanism anymore, or their time-based mechanism anymore. So that is the underpinning of Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. Now, this game was formerly called Metal Slug Attack when it was in its mobile form, and so the Reloaded is just the rebranding, repackaging, retooling, rebalancing of it to make it now a standalone game. So I did put about a couple solid weeks on this game on another profile, but we're going to be starting this from scratch. And so this way I will have some knowledge of how it works, but eventually I did kind of get burnt out knowing I was going to be firing this up for you guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I don't know if this is going to be super crazy popular, because I mean, even right now, Twitch only has a very small following on it because it's a newer title. But at the same time, this is now our newest game. I mean, our last newest game was Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which of course is an old school style platformer, and that's a 2-year-old game at this point. So it is wild that we're not getting into highly modernized games, but we are trying to still support classically designed stuff. So I'm thankful that this has gone from mobile format to standalone format, and that alone to me is like, if it's fun and still in a classic design format, I think it's justified giving some screen time, and there is some strategies involved. I thought it was going to be like, I'm just going to rush through this, it'll be good. I'll talk about more of those as we get going, but I think that's all I got to cover. So here we go. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded Episode 1 on PlayStation 4. We're good to go. I'm sure if you're bored, well, you may have checked out already, but here we are. Gonna finally get onto the action. And I'll get you some audio before I forget. It's interesting it's made with Unreal. I mean, not that Unreal isn't used for other formats, but it's extensively 2D, so you don't need quite as much of the Unreal stuff that you would for the 3D space. Okay, so you must agree to the user and privacy. Like, well, this game does have online, but for the most part, we're not going to bother. This is kind of cool. I mean, they kind of showcasing some of the bigger stuff. Common format, you got your settings, gallery. I think some of the artwork is kind of already visible. Like, they got illustrations, some other things. So, basically, as you start unlocking some of the characters, you get to see some of these. Nice touch. Not a big deal, but you're into that. Alright, so here's the start of the game here. Now, I am not going to get into the story on this. I was kind of mentioning some of this when we were getting through Warriors Orochi. Warriors Orochi at least added voice acting, but essentially we are just clicking our way through a visual novel format. It's stuff added for the sake of adding content to make a story out of a game. So normally I've been skipping this. It's almost kind of like better that, like, we'll play the game, get through everything, and then maybe I'll do a story run in which I spend more time on this, or maybe I'll just do what I'm doing now, is make sure it's on screen. But there's a lot here, and it just gets so tedious that I'd rather wait for the story of Metal Slug Tactics, or at least just play through the arcade. So, I apologize if anybody's expecting the full breakdown of the story, but really, there is so much to get through and so much to unlock. Like I said, I put about 2 weeks into this. I kind of capped out at level 41, 42. I don't know if it caps at 50 or 100, but either way, 2 weeks and still not even at the 50 threshold. There's a lot, and I still probably had another 20, 30 characters still not unlocked yet, and it does get kind of difficult, and then you start getting into grinding. So, yeah, we're gonna forego some of that. I'll try to breeze through some of this aspect. So this is giving you the basics of tower defense format, and then it's gonna talk about your dudes, and then show you. And I didn't even read any of this. I just started playing it, So I figured it's like this can't be that complicated. It really got a little more challenging once I started getting hung up on something.
Mission start.
So I don't know if this is going to tutorial us. Yep, it is. So we got to wait for the action points to go up. Then we can basically pick our first dude. Once he starts going blue, you can have an actual attack. Or it's more of like their power-up attack.
Okay.
Now, hitting the L1 is basically increasing your rate of attack points. So rather than having a time format, or it is a time format, but more of a, like in a real-time strategy game, it's like increasing your currency. It's essentially removing the currency that you would otherwise use in a real-time strategy game. So his power-up, he gets the machine gun, but he only gets one and he drops it, kind of reminiscent of actual Metal Slug. But if you start managing your stuff well, you're going to be able to start getting more guys in there, and then you're going to want to try to get in higher action point quantity so you can actually get, larger units on screen. So you also get the special power-up, so if I hit R1, it's a one-time use until it recharges. That is independent of our action points. That's going up over time. So now we have enough, and we max out at 250 apparently. Now we're going to try get all these guys out there. And if you get more forces than them, you got an increased chance of hurting. So they've got guys they keep sending out and some tanks. These guys are kind of goofy. All they have for their special is throwing a grenade. They're kind of basic grunts. And it's a nice, simple design format, and it makes sense why it's a mobile-style game, because you don't have a massive controller at your disposal, or at least it's not a... You want to make sure that if people don't have a ton of dexterity or a keyboard or whatever, that you make it as easy as possible for mobile. So now we purge their defenses, we actually start attacking their base, and smash on the attack button, and a little more damage there. So, yeah, as mentioned. So, yeah. So, I didn't even know this about Metal Slug until looking into tactics, but the main group is called Peregrine Falcons. Okay. Didn't know. I didn't even know that the girls were even introduced as early as Metal Slug 2. And I didn't even know Marco and Tarma had names. So... I'm learning all kinds of stuff about Metal Slug after having bypassed it for the better part of 3 decades. So I already talked about this a little bit, so now it's giving you an introduction on the special attack. So that's when they start going blue. And when I first watched a video on this, I'm like, oh, this seems like it's overwhelming. There's a lot going on. But actually, it's not too bad. I mean, you basically just have to hit one button to have the attack happen, but everybody's going to do it all at once. So it's in the realm of a RTS game, and this is why I don't play RTSs very much. I mean, StarCraft I'll revisit once in a blue moon, but it's because there's so many pieces to manage. If you have a hero character with his special and another character across the map with his special, it's like you have to then hop around. And to me, one thing I forgot to mention that I've kind of characterized this game is like a bite-sized Zerg Rush in Metal Slug form, because as you progress and you can get more units on the screen. Now, you can't necessarily get more than 10 at a time without the numbers playing out a certain way, because you can only get up to 10 different units at a time. The thing is, though, if they survive long enough, you'll start piling more and more of them out there until this whole screen is going to be flooded with the amount of pixelated art of all the missiles and the rockets and the gunfire and the mechs and the ground units and the ships. And it's just so crazy to think of how many military forces are just being crammed in this little 2D space. But their attacks are all driven automatically by close range, far range, and then their special. And their special just will accumulate over time. After they use it, it'll build back up. So as the player goes, there is not much there for you to actually have to do. So to me, that's appealing. I want I want the strategy. I want cool characters, and I want to feel like I'm doing something cool. So it is quite understandable how the tower defense mode or genre became popular, because it's taking care of those things without the amount of workload of resource management and deployment of hundreds of forces and then map navigation. It really boiled almost like a real-time strategy formula into the most simple thing possible. And as I mentioned, they took away your resource gathering and replaced it with the action point mechanism. So it just seems to work. Without having ever played one before, it now makes sense why it's popular. Now, am I going to go out there and start playing a ton of tower defense games? No. This, I'm enjoying this because it's Metal Slug and it's easy, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go out and play a mobile game or anything like that. So this is also talking about the support system, in which case, so we have a Metal Slug unit as one of the deployable things. Now, this other one is a special ability, which we'll get into more later, but right now they're giving you the default one, which is allowing to send the Metal Slug zipping across the screen and does a bunch of damage and blows up whichever once it makes impact or something. So all kinds of different levels inspired or mostly taken from the other game. So they're just going to tell us to get the attacks and everything working. I'm going to start mashing on the L1 button because it really is a lot to do with getting your AP up and running pretty soon. And there are upgrades. I mean, to me, it's moving so slow now. Like, I can pretty much get it up to 120 in the first, 3 seconds because of upgrades and things. So I'm just mashing on the button. It's taking forever. We can move the map. We can see their base. I don't typically do this very much, but you kind of get an idea of when they start moving. Start getting more of your guys out there. We see now we can get doubles of this guy because he doesn't have a long redeployment time. And that one just got knifed, got shanked. So even each of these characters have different health point properties, different range properties, different speed properties, and you don't have direct RPG customization on them, but there are strategies that can hinge off how you pick your units, how you upgrade your units, or timing. Alright, so it wants me to use the special, so let's go ahead and hit that. So there it goes. It's going to do some damage to those guys. See, and then when I hit the attack button, they all do their attack at the same time. So we'll let Marco get annihilated there, and we're going to send a ton of them in all at once. Watch it. Oh, maybe I won't send a ton of them in. Now, I can also hit the R2 button and speed things up, but I'm not going to do that just yet until we start getting into repeat missions over and over again. So it shows how much they cost, but you have a certain time, how long they have before you can deploy them again. So here we go. We just have everybody use their attack at once to take out the front tank there. Of course, Mr. Scrub Grenade guy's going to die pretty quick. Maybe not. Now if I can send this out, this should clear the way a little bit. If not, kill the base. He killed the base with a knife. So these blue guys are essentially almost like a friendly version of the otherwise, common green-clad enemies of the games. I don't know if there was blue ones, but they had to give you a scrub in addition to your named characters, I think, to get this going. So they're going to yak a bit. The story mode is just so droll. And so this is there's 5 different armies to pick from, or at least the affiliations. And they have the story mode broken down by that. So Peregrine Falcons, Rebel Army. And then you got Space. Ptolemaic. Unless the P is completely silent. Which, for the most part, you can mix and match the Space Army. The challenge is, during the story mode, you can only pick units from that affiliation, and that makes it really difficult because you don't have your favorite units, and then last one there is Independent Army. So you may get really dependent on some powerhouse unit, and the game is then going to force you back into the story mode and make you learn how to use some of these other units. Now, I gotta admit, it did help me, because I probably wouldn't have picked other things if not for that. So it's a catch-22. On one hand, you're being forced to do something different, but at the same time, it's like, oh, the game's making me go over here. It's like having to re-go through a training, like when you've already leveled up your powerful wizard to level 100, and it's like, oh, congratulations, go back to wizard boot camp kind of thing, you know? Okay, so I'll try to give an overview of this here a little bit. So yeah, you're done with the basics course. Let's try out a stage. We'll do that here in a second. So I'm going back to the main menu first. You can enhance your army from build-up. We'll get to that. We don't have the ability to do much here yet. Okay, so here's the basics. So our data is just kind of showing some basic stats. I'm not going to bother with that or the help. So we were just inside the world map, and then the build-up is the only thing we have as an option, which has to do with upgrading your characters. We have nothing to work with. So if you look at the two icons on the top, we got these medals. So normally, I've seen mobile games have like 2 currencies, maybe more, but typically there's a free currency, which you get for just playing the game. Then there's the premium currency, which you typically have to pay for. Now, maybe if the premium currency will be, you get a little bit at a time, but that's where the stuff you really want is locked behind. So we're going to get that MSP, which looks like a golden ticket out of Willy Wonka or something. We're going to get a ton of those. We need the points as like spending cash. But I reached a point, like, you end up with so much in the bank, you can't even use it all because you can't even upgrade stuff quick enough to match the unlock pace. The challenge is the medals. Now, we'll only get a limited number of medals for completing a mission, completing story mode stuff, or what you see down the bottom, there's that quest icon. So this quest icon is probably where your daily events or your challenges, this almost harkens back to your achievements and your trophies. We'll look at that real quick. Now, at first I was like, oh no, I don't have to sit here and chase this stuff. Well, it doesn't show much in here right now. But as you can see, the very first one, you got to clear the first stage, and like, hey, it gives you 200. So for about the first third of the game, you're going to get these like nobody's business. But like in typical RPG fashion, you're going to start noticing, okay, well, I got a couple hundred, I got about 500, 1,000, and like, oh no, it's going to take me another day to get to the next set. And it's going to take me 2 days to get to the next set. It becomes more and more laborious, and that's where this game starts to lose steam. So there's only a few categories here. You've got clearing stuff, collection. So basically, this goes without saying, hey, when you collect a certain number of characters or a number of stages, there'll be some unlocks like avatars and, you know, music tracks. You know, typical stuff, nothing fancy. But then here's the other ones like, hey, how much have you built an item up? Get it to the maximum level, and then there's different thresholds. Kind of common stuff. One of these I haven't even touched yet is like this billion trillion threshold here, which even then only gives you 500, so not a big deal. Once you start getting into some of the stuff, you can change your icon, the base, the background music, and the attack icon, and you're at the mercy of whatever they put in there. There looks to be, I've seen maybe at least 10 different bases, maybe about 20, well, there's a lot of icons, and I think we might get something just for unlocking. So let's move it from the generic icon to the Metal Slug. Hey, congratulations. The base, we don't have anything to work with yet. Attack button, they only give you this one for default. Background music, we can change the home screen music, which I'm not going to do. Actually, you know what? We probably won't. The one I really like is in Metal Slug 2, I think, but we probably don't have it yet. Nope. Nope, don't have it yet. Okay, so that's just a sampling of that. Oh, look, see the little exclamation point. We've finished a quest, probably just because I changed the avatar up there. So that's going to give us medals. Maybe. So I got to go to the one where it's unlocked. See, there we go. We got 100 medals for that. Starts out pretty easy. Starts out pretty easy. Now, the interesting thing is, I was trying to figure out, is there more content? This game will not even let you play online mode until you've completed a threshold. That kind of makes sense. It's kind of like what we've dealt with recently with Splinter Cell. Like, every time I have somebody new come over and create a new profile, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory would not let you play multiplayer at least until you took an exam to show, hey, I know how to navigate the map correctly. This game does that too, in the sense, make sure you know how you play this, because we don't want a lot of people complaining, saying, I played somebody, I keep getting smoked because I don't know how the game works. I guess it kind of makes sense, you know, but what if somebody has already played, you know, and they want to just hop in like a, you know, like they would on a shooter? I don't know, but that's the plan. So story mode is over here. And then this was the one I didn't have unlocked for a long time. This is locked behind completing world tour or world stage mode, and this leads into some ultimate mission mode. Somebody was saying, because if you click on it, it says unlocking soon. You'd almost look at that and say, huh, I wonder if that's for DLC content. I mean, basically because these other ones unlocked while you're playing, it's kind of like, well, you would make the conclusion that maybe it'll unlock, you know, after completing something. And it does. So it's not like they've put a DLC store icon on the screen for you. This actually does have something once you get past a certain threshold. So I'm not gonna go into build up yet because I can easily get distracted in there for a long time. We're gonna go into doing some play stuff first. So I'm not, you know, I spent a lot of time talking on this one just because I've put a lot of time into it recently. And you know, as typical fashion, in my first episode, I will normally spend a lot of time explaining either my backstory and all kinds of other things on this. And this game has a lot in it, despite being a simple mobile game. So I get some things rearranged here. Okay, so here we go. So the world stages, nothing impressive. I mean, it just goes around the globe. I mean, there's probably anywhere from 4 to 6 different stops within each one. We'll get some medals from doing this. Down at the bottom, it also shows the story for each thing. I've never bothered with that because you're going to get some of that automatically. You can go into the unit screen, and I didn't even realize that was down there until I unlocked it, the Elite Standard thing. You can't get the Elite mode unlocked until you complete all the way through number 6, which is Australia here. So you've got to go through all these before you even get that unlocked, which we won't need yet unless I make a mad dash tonight, which probably not going to happen. So here we go. This is the first one. You can see the medal icon, so you're going to get medals at least the first time you complete something. Well, because I got a little practice here, this shouldn't be too difficult. So, I skipped all this stuff when I played it for the first time. I think after we got done with a cooperative laboratory episode, Call to Stealth and I were just, you know, hanging around, and I fired this up, and so he had mentioned that he had played this on mobile, and so we were mostly just talking random stuff while I was just like flipping through this, and I'm like, you know, there's not a whole lot of substance here. I didn't even look to see, oh, here's what the enemies are. Now, I do that maybe more so later to see what their number is, but I'm not looking like, oh, is he a 1-star or is he a 3-star? It doesn't really matter. There's hostages, which we'll see. You know, in classic Metal Slug, you actually have to, like, make contact with the hostage, and then he'll give you something on the spot. In this case, you have to clear the map to get the power-up, which you can apply to characters. But the thing is, you don't know where they're at. Basically, if you connect with a certain area, then they'll show up. And it says hidden throughout the stages. Yeah, they're hidden all right because they're completely invisible. Because this game is not designed to do the same thing of walking up to them. That'll probably come out in more detail later. Because I found as you rush through things, it's easy to miss them sometimes now. And these power-ups, we'll get to more of that later. So I didn't realize right away it shows how much EXP, which is the Metal Slug points. No, wait a minute. No, the EXP goes for your character leveling up. And these guys are all level 1s. Nothing special here. And then basically there's a possibility of unlocking a heavy machine gun and our other pistols. Now that's not a literal heavy machine gun or a little pistol. Those are just like icon things that you'll attach to characters you unlock. So we'll get to that more later. Oh yeah, we got to set up a deck. So you can almost call this a deck building game. I mean, it's referred to as a deck because it's very common for some of these kind of formats, but it's not like an actual card. But you are putting a strategic item, and you have a set of those to pick from while you're playing a particular match. So it kind of fits, kind of doesn't. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. You can actually change the support type, which I'm going to stick with the Metal Slug for now. So this is something we can also affect later. The Metal Slug Attack is something that will happen. Even other Metal Slug variants will do, I believe. So we can actually affect the damage on that later. Okay, so this is talking about the different ones. Again, I skipped this earlier. So there's Metal Slug Attack, Recovery, and then Reload. So one of them allows you to reset your deployment speeds. This one allows you to reset your attack rating. So basically, if you just fire off an attack, hit this special, and then everybody can do their attack a second time. So if you're going from an aggressive standpoint, if you know how to leverage that, fine. I use the recovery one most because you need the units, but there might be times where we'll have to switch to that. So, okay, so that covers all of those. Now here's our basic deck. We will not have much to pick from here, so we'll get it started. But, here's the customization of it. I'm not going to spend too much on this tonight. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more. You can organize it how you want, and I skipped this. I didn't pay any attention to this whole thing of how they're related to each other. Didn't know about it. Didn't pick up on it until by playing. Okay, so it's got the PF symbol, the Peregrine Falcon. So this is something I completely overlooked until story mode. If I pick somebody who's not part of the Peregrine Falcons at this point, I'm going to lose that affiliation bonus. So for right now, because all these characters are listed as Peregrine Falcon, they're getting an extra 10% HP. I can go into each of these characters and see what their stats are. And this game has a ton of stats behind the scenes. So right now Marco has 1100 HP. He's a level 1. Now, this is just mind-numbing stuff, which I'm not going to bore you with. I may talk about it later if I need to look something up. But right now, this is just crazy. You got HP, the deployment stuff, their knockback resistance, and then their movement speed. And a zillion other things. So it's a bit much. I kept playing. I got pretty far without ever reading any of this. So it almost like I didn't really start looking at it until I got stuck to figure out what do I need to change. So we'll get to evolve, level up, equip later. These two things don't unlock until later. And then, so you're basically stuck with limited maximum character until you start doing other things. This one's kind of interesting just for the sake of example. Shows what they're like standing, shows what their close range attack is. So he does a knife, his long range is the pistol, but then he's got a one-time use special of the heavy machine gun. So I'll just switch to Tarma real quick. Or actually, you know what? Somebody with a different HP. So you can see that Ares got 880 HP. Now the icon's down at the bottom, completely different. So he's an attack type. He's got an assist type later versus Tarma is a defensive type. Ares got some kind of, I can't remember if that's an evasion. That's not the evasion one. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on the stats here because we could be here all night just getting started on all that. It's better that I explain some of it once we get playing. Now, also, here's the other key difference is the AP, the attack points. How many points does it take to deploy them? So we got 100, 90, 190, and 30. So obviously this guy can deploy a lot faster, but he's also got a lot less health. I'm sorry, he's got more health. He's got more health. No, wait. They had 1100, so I'm sorry. He's got a third of their health. So this really is where your strategy comes into play. But this is going to change over time as you get more units. I've seen units at least in the 800s, if not all the way up to 1,000 action points. So in order to deploy the thing one time, you have to wait till that action point meter gets all the way up to 1,000, if you can even get there. So trying to deploy a bunch of small units quickly or lesser big units a little bit more slowly has an impact on how you're going to play, and also how much the computer spams the enemy at you also matters as well. So there's not much else we can do. We only have 5 units, so we can't really deploy anybody else. Now what I'm going to do though, this guy's the scrub. I like to go from lowest AP to highest. Because he's the lowest, I'm putting him at the bottom. So I'm going to move him all the way down here. Now, these guys are actually tougher, so I'm going to move them this direction. And actually, I mean, I know the point difference, 10 and 90 versus the 2, but typically these guys have higher HP than the gals do, so I'm going to roll with it that way. Okay, so that is our deck. That's all we have. So we set the deck up. We can change the support, but as I mentioned, I'm going to stick with the Metal Slug.
Mission start.
So first mission, both bases on screen. It's small compared to others where you can walk quite a bit. They're not deploying anybody off the start. He's just sitting there with a mortar launcher. So kind of want to build up your attack points here. Now, I guess I might as well send one of these guys out since they're already rushing me. But I definitely want to try to get my AP up too. So, you kind of choose between, do I deploy first, do I boost first? I don't know if boost is the right word, but you've got to be able to start getting guys to deploy sooner. See, look, they're already starting to wreck him. Now I can start getting some of them out there, but at what expense? See, he's just getting destroyed in one hit. So at least Aerie got an extra, Theo got an extra shot there. Now you can start getting more of them on screen, but those guys are so weak. Alright, he sent a Metal Slug out there. Took out... Oh, it didn't even take out the front guy. It's still pretty weak. Those mortar guys can be pretty dangerous. Now, also, in some characters' cases, he did a shotgun, which is close range, so you can waste your special and still not even hit anything of substance. So her laser goes farther, but and does more damage. So he got wasted by the mortar. She got knocked back by the mortar. I'm so used to matches being over in like a matter of 2 minutes. We have all 4 POWs now. Usually matches have about 4 on most of the world stage missions. Knife him. Oh, I should have knifed him first. See, shotgun worked that time. Got all the way back there, got the mortar guy. Now we start sending units out there. Now we got 4 on screen. Now we start chipping away at the base. Grenade, laser. There we go. It's just crazy. It took like 5 minutes, and now I can like trounce that in like 2 hits, and of course, got a D rank. So I still don't understand this. You'll see this in games. I don't even know if this applies exclusively to Japanese games anymore, but their ranking system goes, you know, F if they have an F, D, C, B, A, S, sometimes double S. So I've never understood what the cultural thing is, but that's why the S rank is actually the highest. It's above A. And you'll get more, well, I think it just may give you a better payout. Yeah, it looks like based on the rank. So this other stuff we use to apply to our characters, I mentioned that. We'll get to that in a second. That's pretty much it. So we got 30 medals. So we're at 130. We might be able to use that. I'm not sure yet. These things we apply to the characters. We'll deal with that later. So because of D, that got us nothing. But we will progress to the next stage here. After this one, if we have enough medals, we'll go try to do the call to arms to unlock a couple things here. So here's our next stage. It's different enemy sets, different reward sets. Nothing for us to change for our deck because we didn't unlock any new dudes yet. So we just hop right in the action. Most of this talking should dwindle by the time we get some of the stuff going. It'll start turning into playing the same mission over and over again to find certain unlocks. That AP crawls so slow now. So I can hit the R2, and it'll go faster, but your reaction time's gonna be faster. But I'm gonna keep it at normal speed so I can talk through it and explain what's going on. Once we start getting repeat stuff again, I'll start blasting it, but that'll probably be a few episodes from now. So the guy with the machine gun's definitely doing a little more damage to us. Oh yeah, he got knocked back off 1 hit there. Machine gun got him though. Oh, I should have saved that. Go get him, scrub. Ah, see? Too far with the shotgun. With you. Who's the mortar guy? Oh, the machine gun guy. Comes out. Alright, now I'm going to wait to get this AP rolled over. There we go. He shouldn't be able to hit the base from there. I was wrong. There we go. Get your bike out of here. Boom. That's right. Knife that base. He throws it. Doesn't go anywhere.
Mission complete. Thank you.
So we did better that time. We got a C. More rewards there. Or medals. And then grenades and bombs. So we'll pause. Not pause, but we'll exit out of this mode for a second. Try to get some more characters. So the good thing is you come back and replay them, and then once you do, you can get the S rank, but you can't get any more medals for it. So we got 160 and then 665. It's enough to maybe do a little upgrading here. Might as well stop in. Oh, we can't do the call to arms yet. Ah, we can't even get new characters yet. Okay, so edit a deck. We did that. Not anything complicated there. And that's it. That's all we can see there. So we're about to get to level 2. That'll lead to something else. So I don't want to spend too much time on the base customization. There's not a whole lot to explain. Actually, I probably got pretty far before... Well, not far, but... I started playing a significant amount before I really looked at this. And this is pretty crucial here. Unit customization, deck customization, nothing exciting. So these other two are unlocked. This one down here, which has something to do with attributes, you don't get till you finish the world stage mode. This other one is for supporters. So it's kind of like the special attack. It's a one-off person who can do a special ability. Not a big deal at the moment. So deck customization, you can pick 1 out of 5. We're not going to touch that right now. Customize bases. If we can go in here, we will do this. So this is why I say the action point speed is so slow. I'm at a level 40, and at this you can level these up corresponding to where your player rank is. So basically, every time you rank up, come back in here, max all these out. Rank up, max these out, because this does increase your efficiency in getting stuff deployed and doing damage. So from the time you start, you can actually get all the way up to level 10 on this before your character gets level 10, but once you get all these caught up, then it's basically a 1-to-1 ratio of like, okay, I'm at level 30, I can move these up to 30, and so on. So right now, we've only got 600 points to work with, but I'm going to run this as high as I can to level 4. Might as well get the action points moving first. I think I was probably about a level 8 or 9 before I realized these were here. Okay, customize unit. We'll spend a couple minutes here. Try not to get too crazy on this. So, oh, it's interesting. This is kind of clipped on my TV here. It's actually showing better on the screen for use. So you've got that 1 out of 34. There is 34 pages of characters here. So you see 9 on screen, 34 times 9 essentially, 270 and 36. So yeah, you're looking at over 300 characters. And all we have right now is these 5. And you can preview, you can go through all these and see how many there are, but it's crazy. So this little green plus icon shows the item you can attach. We could take one of those pistols and put it either on Airy or Theo. Each of these are just like minor little things we can do. So we can go equip this. And this is going to tell us how this works. I don't know that there's much for me to say about this. If you're playing this, you can read it for yourself. You're attaching an item and getting a bonus. They have it broken down into groups of 6. For every group of 6 that you correctly implement, that will then allow you to do a skill. Now, you don't even get these skills until later, but in the meantime, it still does give you a little bit of a small boost. So by giving one of these handguns her attack and speed for close and long range. And then this might vary based on the item. There's not really any rhyme or reason to this. The developers picked it, and that's what it is. So we'll do that for now. So basically, she gets a small boost. Fantastic. All right, nothing else to see there. We can now do the same thing for these guys. So we'll equip his, probably the grenade. Yep, it's the grenade. So he gets an attack of 20 on his special attack now. And I'm going to flip through these screens so fast because this can become so time-consuming. I'll try to explain it, but there's not a whole lot to it. So, Theo gets the same bonus from the gun. Nothing special. I'm not even going to sit there and read all the stats off because, for me personally, RPGs feel so exhausting to the point of, like, hey, upgrade to level 1, +1. Upgrade level 2, +0.05. Upgrade level 3, +0.025. You can't, as a gamer, see the stats going on. That's one of the reasons I love XCOM so much, is because when you upgrade by 1 point of damage or 1 point of health, you actually can notice it. I don't see many games that follow that, because when you have an RPG that goes from level 1 to 1,000, the numbers behind the scenes are just so irrelevant. I mean, you'll notice it when you jump from one to the other, but that gradual process, you really don't see much as a whole because you're constantly fighting enemies that are in a very similar level group as yourself. Now, I'm noticing it now because I'm going from level 40 back to 0. So, I mean, everything's really weak, everything's really slow, but once you don't notice the progress as it happens when these numbers are so inconsequential. So that's all we can do. We only unlock a few things. So we'll try to beef these characters up as much as possible to accelerate our process through the world mode for whatever time we have tonight. So, and I'm going to pause to do a round check. So I'm probably boring people and talking too much, but, you know, this is kind of an introductory thing here with stuff going on, so... I know some people popped in, at least on Twitch and YouTube, so much appreciated. Try to keep things moving along. Alright, so it's kind of a bummer that we can't... This is the one we need to start unlocking dudes, but I'll see if we can get there tonight. I just don't remember what the threshold was. New modes... This is another, like, thing makes people think that it's missing something. New modes are currently in development. No, they're actually there. They actually work, but you'd think it would give you an unlock criteria like... Yeah, it just doesn't tell you. So basically, by us customizing, we also got something else here. So we built up a level, or speed level 2, so that's more points, or medals. More medals here. And that's that. So, okay, so here we go, world stage. We should be able to get to level 2 here pretty easily, and then see what happens. All right, so we got these little drone things. There were certain ranges where I just like waltzed through it, and then there were certain points in the game where I just like got hammered. I mean, try again and again and again, and could not figure it out. It really forced you to go play with different units. And I could tell, like, as I would start to go look at some forums, either on the Steam forums, or maybe, like, there may have been a Reddit one or something that popped up, people like, how do I get past stage 7-3? I mean, that's not one of them, but there was a couple ones that apparently were, like, almost like new plateaus from a difficulty standpoint. Said, hey, remember how you were playing? That doesn't work anymore. So... there's going to be a couple of these, and I'll try to remember them as I get to them, but those will end up causing to mix the deck up and start using different units if possible, because it will get more difficult. So here we go, more yakking. I'll leave these on screen long enough. You can pause and read if you want to, but... Like I said, my inclination is skip it all. I mean, this, because look how much yakking they're doing. And this is a throwback to like one of the earliest levels of very first Metal Slug. I mean, I remember this. Most of the other stuff I just don't know. So our action points are now going up just a hair faster, not by much. I mean, we didn't have enough points to get very far, but it does help. And so I'm going to try to get at least another set out here before he gets here. Alright, now we send somebody out. Knife them. They're gonna get wrecked by the machine gun. Oh, and the drones. Oh, this is gonna get rough. We're already in trouble. I should have gone Tarma. Oh, that didn't work. So the thing is, there's little strategies about keeping somebody who's a scrub out there who can, like, take the hits rather than some of your other guys. You can't really control that much, but it may depend on the order which you send stuff out. That drone is a bit of a problem for us. So at least got him out of the way. You've got to be careful about, just because your action points are at the threshold where you can buy another scrub, you may not want to do that because they will keep getting trashed and you're never getting anything that's durable enough to survive the other stuff that's out there. So now the drone is wrecking us at long range. Gotta get a range to counter. At least Ares laser kind of does that. Now, yep, now we're getting the base, so we should be good. But that had me nervous there for a second, even off the start of that, because they were, you can see, that already took about 20% of our base out.
Mission complete.
But there you go. So we've got 2 of the regular dudes and almost 1 of all the other Peregrine Falcon characters. See, we got a B. We're doing better each time here. So, the last of every world stage is a boss. Some of these can be super tough. Not too bad off the start here. So it's telling, oh yeah, by the way, enhanced stuff, yeah, we just kind of did all that, so. So it's got the boss as a level 2, all the other dudes are like level 1. Different, you can see there's different unlocks. I can't do anything with their deck, so keep on going. Blah, blah, blah. Can you imagine if people had to talk and like they're in the same room, but they had to keep writing it on paper, hand it to the person, they write it down, hand it back. Like, what in the world? Also, definitely some Metal Slug 1 stages still. There's a play-by-play narrator here. Oh my goodness. So I'm guessing Midori is a bit of a mechanic. So you get this on every boss stage. Hey, giant warning, this is a boss. Sit here, try to...
Okay.
So certain map stages, you have a little bit more freedom before they send stuff out. Maximize your AP. If not, let's go hit the base. That's okay. Maybe we'll just run in with Tarma here and a scrub. Blast him! No, it didn't work. Alright, now we got machine guys after us. We're gonna knife the boss to death. Rocket shotgun. No problem.
Mission complete.
And it helped a little bit because I waited a little longer to get the action points up. See, we jumped right to S already. We're good. Ugh. Total visual novel stuff. Like, hey, we're gonna shake him, make it look like an action, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So here we go. This is what we want. We want Call to Arms unlocked, so we can now do some gotcha, pulls on the machine to unlock some characters here. And we got 370 now. Yes, we can recruit from there. I'm going to demonstrate that. Yeah. See, that's why it says new modes being developed. I mean, you say develop, you think it's actually, being coded, but no, it means it's being developed in terms of your progress and unlocking stuff. All right, so before we do that, let's go into quest first. This will be some more medals for us to work with. Hey, there's 200. All right, here's that. We can now change the avatar, so let's actually go change that, just so we can see some medal behind. Oh, we already did that. Never mind. So you can already start to see the completed ones and starts moving some others in. But only 4 categories, nothing special. All right, so here's what's brutal. It doesn't tell you what... You don't get this until you defeat World Mode. And World Mode is held off by those other obstacles I mentioned, by getting smashed like a ping pong ball. So I'm not even going to go into that one yet. This one is your general recruitment, and it's going to have 3 different modes in here. So we got 50 medals. That's going to give us about 10 pulls here. And at this point, there's not any point of holding them. My initial thought was, like, I'm very conservative and tight-fisted when it comes to money in games, because I'm like, I never know when I'm going to need it for this massive power-up item, so I don't want to use it sparingly. After getting going for a while, these are going to unlock, and these do actually cap out. So let me turn the audio down here for a second, because the drums, I'm sure, are going to be a little obnoxious here. So in a gacha game, typically, and especially in mobile games, you're going to spend these medals, and you may get a unit you already have. Normally, because they want you to keep paying to play, they don't care if you get the same common generic item a zillion times because you keep having to pay. Because this is a standalone game, there is eventually a cap. you will need to get the same item maybe about 5 to 10 times, because you will then use the repeat versions to upgrade the overall character, which we'll see here in a bit. So that is a redeeming thing about this being a standalone game, because it is insidious that mobile games will say, oh, that's too bad. It's literally like playing the lottery. You play the ticket today, all right, you got nothing. You play the same numbers tomorrow, you got nothing. But that's okay. You can keep paying as long as you want. Now, people might argue about their lottery mechanisms whatsoever, but the point is, when you're doing virtual content like this, the fact you keep paying and having nothing to show for it, beyond the self-conceived idea of like, oh, but I'm having fun doing that, developers are leveraging that, players are not paying attention to that, and that has led to poor game design. So that's why I'm encouraging that we need to see more games in the standalone variety than these mobile formats, which so many developers have chased over the last decade plus because they see how lucrative it is. We're reaching a point where the lucrative nature of that is not necessarily as strong as it used to be, so they are starting to come back to this, but I think we need to see more. So sorry for getting on the soapbox here, but I kind of want to also touch on how this works. So what we're looking at here is the 50 metal variety is more generic characters or commons. You know, the N and the R are referred to as normal and rare, and we'll see those are going to be like lesser characters compared to some of the high-end ones. Now, just because the others are 200 900 doesn't mean you're going to get better ones, because there will be normals and rares in there too, or at least especially in the last set, but you don't get those till further in the game, so they might still be perceived to be stronger. I don't know. So here goes. It says you got 570. You want to actually pull and go for 50? Yeah, of course. So I'll do this as much as we have medals for to see what we get. So I'll go through this a couple times, but it reaches the point of like, hey, fancy shiny object, dopamine hit, you know? So we'll start messing with the units, but that's what one looks like. So we got two. Now, each of these is brand new. We can see these again, and we will see these again. So on to the next one. So it keeps asking and making sure you want to do it, and that's what we're going to have to keep doing here until I run out of medals. And once it starts being redundant, you can start skipping this part, because the only thing we got is one new guy. See, we already have Marco, we already have Theo, and we just got Mr. Floating Platform guy, the previous one. So the R suggests that they're more rare, meaning you will, because there's a probability going on in the background, you will not see the rare units as frequently as the normal. I mean, just basic statistics there. I hope I'm not boring you with the obvious, but again, some of this may not be straightforward if you're not familiar with mobile or something else. So we got 5 this time. Even the amount you get is random, anywhere between 3 and 5. So now we got a machine gun guy. I think it was Trevor, that mech thing again. Now we got this gorilla dude with a knife, and we got Theo on a ostrich version of the Metal Slug. So Marco with a drill, dude with a cow crusher thing. I don't know. So then there's a gorilla guy with the shield, and also the military guy with the shield. Well, I guess the gorilla's still military. It's a long time before we get to the 200 ones. There's no point in, I'm just going to max them all out. So there's the most basic version of Mars people, which I forgot to mention. We were talking about SVC Chaos. There isn't much from Metal Slug characters in the fighting games, but they included one of the Mars people as a hidden character in SVC Chaos. So also this green looking Marcus is the clone one. There's different versions. There's zombie versions and other kinds of stuff here. So this is where it does get pretty addicting. Ooh, all these cool characters, all with different stats, all with different things you can do. See, there's a mummy. It's not a Metal Slug. That one's called the Former, I think, and then another gorilla. So we already had him. Now I also like this. Roughly about every 5 pulls, you get a free one. Now, I don't know if this worked in the mobile that way, but hey, if this is accelerating me getting this stuff without the medals, okay, cool. Minimize my game time of doing dumb, repetitive things, please. I'm all for that. Giant, goofy eyeball alien. Now we got a clone Theo, another zombie. And we got about another 5 pulls here. I'll try to start speeding through this if it's repetitive. Clone Marco. I don't remember that thing. Mortar Gorilla. I forgot her name. Not Tamaki. I'll get to her name in a second. There's so many characters I can't remember. I'll have nicknames for a lot of them too, so that'll be a flavor you won't get anywhere else. So I think that's Morden on the chopper. I could be wrong. On a different version of Mars people, and then there's our blue dude that we already have as a basic. So now we can start upgrading him a little bit if we have enough. Clone Marco, another Aerie, Aisha, and another Zealot or something. I didn't realize till later on that Aisha I needed her to get past one of the thresholds I was really stuck at, so I didn't use her off the start. So here's an interesting thing. I mentioned this a few episodes ago on the record, and I don't remember to what point, but I was talking about pop culture stuff and inspiration. That you can't tell me that thing is not straight out of Starship Troopers, other than the fact it's got maybe a different little tentacle thing. I mean, that is the brain bug straight out of the original movie. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's inspired by. I mean, if you take something popular, to me, that's not like, hey, get this special DLC. You get to play as the brain bug, and here's our special Starship Troopers collaboration. So I don't mind genuine inspired stuff, which is a nod to something. So I don't have a problem with that. It's interesting. Now, it's not a character I honestly would want to play as, but it does have strategic capacity. One I haven't found yet myself, but I'm just saying why you might choose it. So here we go. This is the last one, unless they give us another freebie. So we got that one already, and we got the mummy. So those repeats are going to help us get it leveled up. So now we're out of medals. Actually, we may not be out of medals. We might actually have, yeah, by getting a certain number of characters unlocked, we probably got more medals. So let's actually see. Nope, we got an avatar. Got music. More music. Oh, look, more music. No, we did get 100 medals. So that's another 2. We'll just do that real quick. Alright, there's a new guy. Another gorilla. He's new. Oh yeah, El Dorado. I'm not Iron Man in an oversized suit with gimpy MODOK legs. Oh good, another free one. Another alien thing. I don't know what that is. Clone Aerie. Getting thunder again, so we better not get powered out here. Oh, we got 5 that time. Alright. Alright, that's it. So let's go do some upgrades. Of course, probably more medals are unlocked, but we're gonna stop that time. This time. Alright, so here's what building them up looks like. If we have enough, we'll see. Okay, so when it's flashing like that, you have enough duplicates to move them up to the next level. So now look how many characters we got. We got Trevor. What was her name? Nadia. Okay, El Dorado. So I didn't use some of these characters off the start. I kept going with my favorites of like, okay, cool. I like the Metal Slug characters. I like the Team Akari, which is kind of like the ones from King of Fighters, like Leona and Hydern and Clark and Ralph. I mean, some of them are just really cool and really useful, but just by picking like that eventually led to some dead-end strategies. So we got more here that are also accessible, so I'll try to zip through these real quick. When we don't have a lot of items to do, we'll spend more time on that next episode. We'll just go as far as I can. So look at that, check that out. We got the mummy. We'll start at the back here, I guess. Skill enhancements unlocked. So now, this is where equipping those items comes into play. For every one of those groups of 6, minus the last one, you'll unlock one of these. And evolution apparently was not available because we didn't have anything yet, but shocker. So basically, we only needed 1 to go from the bottom level to the next. We'll do that. So basically, he now goes from iron to bronze. Stats increase, most critical being, at least most noticeable, probably their health points and their action points. So how much it costs and how long they survive. All this other stuff, again, to me is like, I can't keep track of all these numbers. A little flashy animation. He's upgraded. Now you need 50, so you need to, you need to get him 2 more times probably to get another one unlocked or another leveled up. I'm not gonna spend any time on the skills yet. So he's done. Clone Marco here. We got enough for his first one. So I'll do this on the next one. I'll show the difference in how their HP and their AP is affected. Okay, so let's go with the Gorilla Mortar guy here. So we have just enough to level him up. So right now his HP is 500. His action points are 60. So 60 and 500. Now if we level him up. So he got 10% increase. Going from 500 to 550 can be significant depending on how much they go up by. And of course, he only got brought down by 2, but in time, having a 10 to 20% decrease in action points can start to make a big difference. So, oh, we got all these gorillas probably at least to level 1, so he's probably going to be pretty similar. 45. So it goes down by 2. Not anything too significant for these guys. I really don't use these guys. And what starts to happen, once you're starting to fight some powerful stuff, you either really need to know how to use it, or you need to find stuff that's going to survive longer. At least my strategy has been go hardcore with anything that's got high health durability. I don't know how to use like the stat modifier ones or dudes that are weak and expect to survive. So I don't know if it's a lack of my knowledge, or if maybe the game just requires you like, hey, go health stuff and just mix in whatever you want after that. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to start zipping through these here. So I'm just going to level them up as much as we can. This is where it gets kind of repetitive. Seems a little fun at first. Going to spend more time looking at it, but once you got enough, there's not anything new to see. You're just going through the process of moving them on up. That's probably like one of the most talking I've ever done for an episode. New world record. X amount of hot air. Alright, then we got this one. Alright, and then... What else flashing? Nope, just Marco. Alright, so we'll check his. So remember, he was at 100, and he's got 1100 HP. So he's now going to come down to 95 and then go up to 1210. So that's... These guys are going to start lasting longer now on the field, which is what you want, because as your opposition gets more difficult. So now we can mess with it. Actually, before we do this, let's go keep working with our base upgrades here. So I'm going to keep going on this one as long as we got the money. Nope, we only got enough for that. So we still got 400 left, so that's for points to spend. Deployment speed. Initial AP. So this doesn't mean a whole lot. Look, like, to me, this is the maximum. So this is only preventing you from being larger units quicker, destruction, and so on. And then this is probably timing and damage of these the support items. So I guess the amount of money and deployment probably seems like more important off the start here. I'll bring this up if I can. Okay, we can do that. And do we have enough to do one level here? We do. It reaches a point you can't even spend the amount of money you keep getting, so... Last time I didn't have this because it's mostly I had enough money just to go all the way up to 10 with them, I think. Okay, I think we're ready to start playing again. Except we'll have more medals, but we'll go utilize them next time. More music. More medals. Okay, that's it. So we got another 2 poles on the gotcha. Well, let's go fight some stuff. Okay, we're on the threshold of level 3 already. Okay, there we go. China. So these guys are all up to level 3 now. So technically, they're kind of ahead of us, but if we start spending money on our guys, then we get caught up. But I think this one of these with these laser things did trip me up initially, not for long, but there was one that was kind of an issue. Okay, so this tells you how to filter the units. Not a big deal. You can set favorites, which will not deal with that. There is a breakdown of what the abilities are. We'll spend more time on that later. Now that we got better units, I'm gonna start putting some more expensive stuff toward the end here. Some of these, see, we're starting to get some pricey stuff. Look, 300, 500. We want to keep this in what we can afford, and also stuff that's still fun. I like these gorilla guys. We'll probably do more of them. These guys are more expensive. See, the gorillas are more affordable. This guy's a more defensive one, but he's also 120, so he's like more than the other guys. So yeah, so off the start, I'm mostly using my favorite stuff, and then until that strategy goes out the window. So let's get El Dorado in here. He's useful. Aisha's useful. See, he's more than that. So we'll bring him out. And Nadia. And I think we don't have the normal Metal Slug yet, and this one's a little bit expensive, so... I mean, I'm not worried about bringing this guy out yet. I want the gorillas, though. You know what? This guy, as far as gorillas go, this guy's much, more durable than this one. So look, so this guy's health points 1430. Oh, he is less. Never mind. But this one's more expensive. I mean, for cost, though, this one's cheaper and a little more effective. You know what? So I'm just gonna bring these two guys out. We'll put him away, and he becomes so useless off the start, even though we got him for 29 points now. All right, so this guy here, and then we'll move everybody else down. We'll stick with Peregrine Falcons plus Gorillas. So you can also see we lost our affiliation bonus because we got the Ptolemaic ones, Aisha, which is Rebel, and then El Dorado, which is either Independent or Space or something like that. So it's like I didn't even know because right out I was switching up units so soon. I had no idea that the bonus was there, so... Oh well. Here we go. And more Yakin. And Silhouette Dude. And Midori. And that's back and forth. Highlighting the one talking. So let's see if I can start doing a little better after some of these early ones, because we're still limited by the slow action points, and they've already got a guy zipping across the screen here. Let's see if we can go shank him with a gorilla. Hoya! And put a defensive guy with him. All right, now I'm gonna wait. Level up here. Oh, he got bashed. So now you can see the movement speed. We got longer to walk. Now we need to get some range on these guys. He's gonna get shanked. We got so he'll actually go out there and try to act defensively a little bit. Yep, there's the lasers. That is gonna wreck the close quarters guys. Now we need to range, and those things are gonna have longer range than us. Yeah, we're gonna have a problem now. Take them out this way. There we go. Now let's get some range in there. Area's got the range. Got to get enough saved up and get her out there a couple more times. So you can see the Metal Slug's taking forever to rebuild up. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. Already dead. Can't get El Dorado out there yet. Not good. Shank him. Yeah, we're dead. Okay, congratulations. So you now see what our first loss looks like. First stage in China. So likely the issue is either I didn't get upgraded soon enough or I was spending too much on shorter units, or our units just aren't strong enough. So they are a level ahead of us. So either we're going to have to go backwards to get more stuff, or try to figure out if there's just a better strategy. Because in the areas where you have a strategy deficit, you're going to have to get your default units leveled up more, so you have to go backwards to do it, or you better find out if there's a unit you're not leveraging correctly when you could be. Now, I think it was a while before I learned you actually do get some action points for actually succeeding and getting kills, so if you get the momentum, you're okay. Alright, so while they're running, I need to be maxing this out. They got much farther that time. But I'm going to do one more. Look at those guys. We got 6 or 7 coming our way now. All right, now we're going straight for range. Probably with Marco. Maybe we'll get Trevor in there. Oh, look at that. He just like wrecked like 4 of them. That didn't last long. Oh, we need to get Harry in there. There we go. Let's get those guys out of there. Buy us some time. I need to get her in there. Now, moving faster. Here we go. Go away. You should go get him. Don't die. She's got... So basically, start learning. She's got a massively awesome super if she survives here. There we go. So basically, look at this. She gets some air and can, like, throw projectiles. And she's still alive. So I didn't realize how much it mattered having somebody with HP. And we're not going to get another one of her unless I save up again. Or wait for her to respawn. So you're limited, you can't just spam the same unit even with enough points every time either. It's got all this balancing mechanism stuff. Now the lasers are being a problem again. I need the Metal Slug back in there. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Need range. Keep strangling. Alright, I'll save up for another one of her. There we go. Running into the ground. Force of habit becomes mash on the X button for the attack, but you can sometimes do that at appropriate times and be like, that didn't help me out so much. Alright, get rid of that thing. Alright, I'm going to try not to spend on the cheap guys now. Make sure I get enough saved up, please. There we go. Now we get the Metal Slug. Clean them out. Now look at that. Now everybody's on the attack. Nadia's got that weird little walking mech kind of thing.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're making progress. Okay. So even though it's such a simple little thing of just like a bunch of dudes coming at you and going back and forth, the key difference was the order in which I deployed stuff. By not wasting all your money on cheap scrubs that keep dying, I had to get Aisha out there. So she had enough health points to survive, clean out the first set of guys, and just basically keep your defense running long enough until you can get the Metal Slug, push everything back. So it almost seems like there is no strategy to this, but like after you get wrecked enough times, you find out like, okay, there is different ways of doing it which are more effective. And so it's just mind-boggling for such a simple concept of no major, currency. And like I said, resource management is just the time. It's all in the timing and the order that you do it. All right, so of course they're still at level 3, and this one's got a lot of those mortar guys out front, I think. So that makes things a little. We didn't even get the El Dorado yet. Bring him out because he's way more expensive than what we can afford from an action point perspective off the start here. I mean, we can, but I just have to not buy anything else.
Mission start.
Okay, so those guys just sit there in place.
Okay.
So even though we could go look over here, I'm more concerned once they actually start moving toward it and advance us, because if they're not going to run in, I'm going to sit here and build up my action points, and I'll have more capacity to get. There's guys out there, so now they're sending them in. They're sending a few of them, so I'm going to start with the Shanker here. Gorilla. But I need to start getting these other guys, and those mortars are going to start being a problem, too. Might as well wait for Aisha if I can. Yeah, see, she died, but I mean, she cut a path through them. Get rid of those mortar guys. Alright, get the arm out there. That laser didn't do much against his shield. She died. Alright, now they're pressing again, but there's mortar guys out of the picture. See, yeah, Ares' laser goes a lot farther. Looks like Theo's got a little rocket thing. I got careful about spending scrubs here. Look at that laser. Cut half the screen. Now we gotta keep them alive long enough without spending on these little guys. Bring in the Aisha back out. See, Marco's heavy machine gun's not super fantastic, but we just mowed over the mortar guys. Yeah, some of these guys are so close range. There we go. Easy what you knew with a little knowledge of the game. Yeah, we got 4 bones. Alright, you know what? I was gonna say let's go to the boss, but after this one, I probably want to do some upgrading again. We start to get some money flowing, so keep those base stats maxed out. Okay, this one had a little bit more of a push, I think. This one had these like tanks and shields, and maybe not. Might be the elite mode. Okay. And mash on L1, mash on L1.
Okay.
Yep, there we go. Shields. Shanker's not gonna be super great, but might as well. Oh yeah, oh the bikes, that's what it was. Put him in front of Ares so she's not the first to get hit. Oh, he got wrecked. Oh, that's a lot of dudes. Time we got knocked back before he can do anything. Alright, get Aisha out there. See, she just like cuts all the way through and gets into position. Let's get another dude out there, give her some clearance, get some range, get a scrub, get range. Then there she goes with a projectile. Look at, I mean, I don't know how you start doing this without certain characters. I mean, she did some damage while she was out there. So we at least thinned out the numbers momentarily. Let's get airy defense. I need piling up pretty quick again. Let's get Aisha and this just rolls over. Alright, we'll upgrade the AP. I'm getting close to the Metal Slug again. Range, defense, Metal Slug. Boom! Alright, everybody's in the blue. Wreck them. Trevor looks like, I think it was Trevor that jumped back with the machine gun there. So now you can see if they survive long enough, you can now get multiples. There's 2 Nadias out there. For a second there, I thought we had 2 Trevors, but I could be wrong. Boots and flamethrowers. Again, this is no power-up capacity relative to the actual item. I mean, because you actually do have those in Metal Slug. You pick up a flamethrower. No, this is just an icon that you use for stats. Alright, so we got enough for a few pulls here. Should have a couple more quests unlocked. And see, now we're up to level 4. We weren't past level 3. Icons. There we go. Some metals. Some more metals. Alright, so we got enough for another 7 pulls, plus a couple free ones in there. So when I saw this game advertised, I had no idea if they had any other fun characters I knew of, and it's like, as soon as I saw the icon, I'm like, oh, fantastic, Leona's in here, because that was one of the reasons I picked up Double X, because I knew the Akari characters were in there, and then like I'm seeing like, oh, there's even more than I saw, because there's Hydern and Whip, and then I'm learning the mobile version even had Mai Shiranui from King of Fighters, and then there's all kinds of other variants that haven't made it into the game yet. And I'm like, I hope, and so in those cases, I hope that they do make DLC, because if there was 1,300 characters, I think there's a lot more I want to try, because there's different costume variations, essentially, with different abilities, different stats. So now we're getting the lasers, we're getting other versions of the thing. We got a bear. I'm not even paying attention here, I'm just kind of like speeding through this. There we go, another free one. I'm force of habit, I'm not even paying attention. Alright, so we got Duplicate, the bear, and we got this other dude. He's like one of the bosses in Metal Slug 2 or something. Got him. Got him. Now I got the laser. Yeah. Should have noticed when the laser popped up because we can use that now. So now I got Eerie and a jet. Cool. 2 more. We got the mini bug. I forgot that one was called. That's, I think, regular Morden. There's a robot version of him, which I don't think is that one. Guess I forgot about the regular version. Some random bug. More Nadia. Oh, you sell it. There we go. Okay. Probably gave us more medals. Yeah. Oh, at least more music anyway. Oh, okay. Alright. So I'm going to start zipping through the evolution process of it anyway. Terrible name, by the way. Just because there's not much else to explain. This can, I could, you know, just be utter waste of time. So we got enough to upgrade that one, the laser thing, which I think when I got stuck, I tried using this thing, but it does not have great health points. So basically, it starts getting wrecked just like the basic Peregrine Falcons do. This thing eventually used a little bit, because so if you look at this, look, that's got 1100 HP already. That's 10 times what the normal dudes do. For how many XP? 260. So for 2.5 more action points, you get 10 times the health. So if you can save your action points, if you're surviving long enough, you get this thing out there, and it's going to be out there for a while. So there is reasons to pick certain units over others. Okay, so that's already up to silver, and the next one goes to gold and then to platinum. So you can see now it's at 12,000. Okay. So we now got a green version dude of our other dude. But the key difference is he's green, shocker, and the fact he's tagged with the Rebel Army instead of the Peregrine Falcons. Okay, so now here's that version of the shield guy now as an upgrade. Mars people. This is, I think, the generic Mars people. So it's got a wait, yeah, 1,000 was about what our Falcons had. So again, not anything crazy surprising there. Yeah. This, I've never really used this thing. Parasite. Alright, and that's the end. So we got everything upgraded. The bear's, nope, bear's not ready yet. Okay, so that's everything evolved. Now, I have not leveled anybody up yet. Now, you're also, if you notice, we also have more green plus signs, so we can start attaching more stuff to get them closer to their skills. I don't want to go too far with some of these because we'll start spending our money we need for the bases, but I'll tell you what, let's level up Marco. There's nothing complicated about this. You're just spending your money or your Metal Slug points to level them up. The points are so insignificant here that you end up with so many points, and the leveling up cost is not that much. It's more the skills and everything, which are way more expensive. So we can take him all the way up to 10, technically, for 918. So I can see through the screen that his health points are 1210. So now, how much is that going to level him up? 600. So we just, like, increased his health points by 50%. Now, the leveling up does not affect their action points, so their cost to deploy them is still the same. But this makes a huge difference, especially early on. If you get, like, say, that tank, which has 11,000, if you're increasing that by 50%, that thing's going to stay alive much longer this early in the game. So it does make a difference. So I spent 900, though, so I want to go get on the bases first. Let's get this taken care of. So we need to get 2. Now we can get to 9. Alright, so now our action points are going to go faster. We got Marco with a much higher bonus. More stuff here. Another 50. Another 100. And that's it. Alright, back to China we go. Let's see if we're in any better shape. Should be. So, their guys are all level 3. Our guys are still at level 1, plus Marco, who's a 10. So, And this is a problem. I got stuck on this one early off the start, so I don't know if I was using Aisha right away, but this one's going to be a little bit of a challenge here.
Okay.
Might be. I don't know. Maybe I'll be better off than I was when I first played it. But this is like sending cow catchers and machine gun dudes, like minigun machine gun dudes. I'll try to get one more in here. Alright, let's send a gorilla and that. Yeah, those big things. And the computer is not playing as it were a real person with the same limitations, because how on earth does it have like 10 of these guys already? It can't. Alright, I'm gonna wait for Aisha here. See, she can start chipping away at him. If she gets her ability before she dies. Nope, she didn't. They're gonna die. Then they got that little mech guy already. Yeah, he's dead. Get off my front door! Oh yeah, dead. This game over. This is one of the other times you want to fast forward, like, alright, get it over with. Because you've got 5 guys on your doorstep, and you're going to send out one scrub, he's going to get wrecked immediately, and you've got no defensive capacity. So that is one of the first ones I had a tough time with. So what are our options? Well, we can go use these medals up and see if we can get anything to push any of the overall threshold. But then we're going to have to start putting points into the bases, the overall levels of the characters we're using. Ooh, a sandbag. I did look up some dude's tier video. He, like, apparently had leveled everything up to 50, like, every character. With, like, I don't know if he did it in a couple weeks playing or mod and unlock stuff. Sandbag might slow him down, but he's like, yeah, this thing's useless, and I kind of concur after actually trying it once or twice. It's like, it's not actually having any defensive impact. Now, he's new. I've never really used him. Jet's kind of weak. Kind of have to use it when you're using that army, but I'll give us another free one after this. There's another tank, rifleman, but he's expensive. Another tank, that's good. Some of those are decent. There we go. There's the free one before we go. Zombie lady, mummy dog, that thing, and then an upgrade for our blue dude. Okay, so we've used all those. Let's go check for evolutions real quick. Check for more medals. More music. More music. Okay. Alright, so... Okay, she's upgraded, but we haven't really started using her yet. Not in the plane, anyway. So these are... So this is 2,800 points for 170. So we're going to need to actually break some of the stuff out to have defensive capacity over those other tanks they're sending at us. Now, I probably got through without using some of this, because I don't remember when exactly I started using or unlocking guys, but I kept trying to roll with the light stuff too long. So the bear is expensive, but got some serious health points though. Like 280. The other thing is I might have a completely different order in unlocking these than I did last time too. So what we'll do for now, because we're out of money. So by getting a certain number of bronzes and irons and silvers and golds and platinums, it'll be different quests. We're going to go backwards, get a few more points, try to level up our basics. So let's go all the way back to here. We should be able to do this a little better now, because we were rolling at this with 4 guys, or 5 guys. Now we got 10, plus some of them being much stronger.
Mission start.
So yeah, action points much faster than when we first started.
Okay.
Mortar dude's gonna sit there.
Okay.
Send Mr. Shank at him. He's gone. So, let's go send our level 10 Marco in there. Laser him. Wait till he's in range and fire. There we go. Get in there. Oh, so he like jumps back and fires. Oh, let's see. Heavy machine gun will go all the way to it. Alright, we got it. See, much easier. So the level stays at the same difficulty, of course. So we went from D to A. Got a few more monies out of it. Alright, so we'll at least get these up a little bit here. See if we can get A's at a minimum.
Mission start. Okay. Okay.
Alright, here comes the shield man. Who do we want?
Okay.
Let's take the shanker. There goes the bike. There we go. They're rushing in. Let's get Odysee in there. Look at that. Save some for her. Nope, she didn't even make it.
Complete. Thank you.
All right, jump straight to S. We can do that too. So there's the thing. We didn't get the hostages because there wasn't enough engagements in the areas that they're posted. We didn't rescue them, so got no power-ups out of that deal. Alright, let's go for S then. S for the win.
Mission start. Okay. Okay.
What do we want? The shank? Wrecked by Mr. Machine Gun. He's got a bigger sword. Marco first. Durability. Carry next for range. And Aisha, if we can get to her. There we go. She could actually survive at least a singular laser attack. If there were multiples, she'd have a tougher time, but gotta use the right tools for the job. So that once we cleared them out, no opposition.
Thank you.
All right, there's an S. Okay, so we now got 2,000 points. The question is, what do we spend it on? Might they even have some? Nope, nothing yet. Okay, so we're using Marco, Airy, Gorilla. Let's get Airy. Actually, you know what? Let's get Marco equipped now. Some of these are so... You get so many of these, it's insane. So we only get one of that one, though. Or have one of that one. But the problem is... like, you gotta go all over the map trying to find them, and because they're random, you don't get enough to really do anything about it. And that's, again, where some of the grinding comes into play. Alright, so I'm not paying close attention to the stats, but beefing them up a little bit. I'll do some of that for Airy here. Armor piercing. So, you know, I mean, it applied to her special. It doesn't. The stuff doesn't actually apply to. I think you think, oh, I got a snake. Oh, I got a turd. You know, it's like, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? Okay, and then she's another one, but her stuff is like a little bit more high end, so you're not even gonna find her items until you get to further up the map. Anybody else that we can justify upgrading that we're using yet? Anybody with range and anybody with health. And Marco's got health. Or, I'm sorry, Tarma. You know, radishes, Chinese cabbage, boots. Okay, and if I can afford to upgrade anybody, let's go with Airy. Level up as far as we can. So, alright, we can get her to level 10. So she's now 1300 HP. Can we do the same for Karma? Pretty much. Alright, so we got 3 level 10 characters. I should have spent some of that on some of the base stuff. Let's see how much we can do here. So base HP, I'd rather have... You know what? How about the slug one? This is the speed. I can only do level 1. So the other thing I need to do is probably use some of these other expensive units here. Alright, we'll take another shot at this, but we might be coming back to lower levels here. Alright, let's change the deck up a pinch. So they're upgraded. What else do we have? So now I got to go through and start comparing how much does it cost to spawn the thing, and then how much HP does it have. So she's at 660 on an ostrich and a metal slug gun. How can I justify that when the cost? I mean, well, I guess it's a little cheaper than the dudes, but I mean, she's got lower health versus say one of these tanks here. This is 3,400, but it's like almost 10 times the HP. Nope. So for 140, that was like double. That's why I haven't used that one. This is what they're using, so it matches like what the guys have for 116, but it's like 1-to-1. This is 3,900 for 150, so that's reasonable. So I can maybe put that in front of there. The laser is gonna get wrecked. Laser bot. This one might be okay. 3,000 for 164. Let's bring that out instead of Trevor. This, well, maybe, no, that's not the one I'm thinking. This one, 247 for 12,000. So let's bring that out. We'll replace Airy. Now I'm gonna rearrange all these. So let's go here. 50. Switch those two. Okay, they're not perfect order, but it's a start. So now what I got to do is not spend as much money on lower scrubs and try to get to these tanks and Aisha to survive long enough.
Okay.
If I need to, I may start doing the hyper boost at least to get the first part started, but
Okay.
I'm trying to at least get to the first episode without trying to rush everything so I can talk my way through it. Alright, if we can get one of these guys out there. There we go, put them down. He's gonna get wrecked by that. Let's get Aisha out there. Yeah, use those abilities before they die. Get another Marco. Get a tank. Let's get another tank. Get a Metal Slug on it. Boom! Airy. Level up. Well, that changed, didn't it?
Complete. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a much tougher time with that before. Hey, look, a bunch of crabs and mushrooms. Yeah, I probably done a few tries on that. Is this the big ship? Oh yeah, and I had a tough time with this one too. We'll see how this goes this time. Since I already have a little bit more knowledge. Oh look, 4 of them in shadow, or 3 of them in shadow. Big she. It was a giant ship with tank treads. So, I mean, I gotta admit, Metal Slug has been very creative with how it applies, you know, various hardware and mash up, like, different vehicle types and merge with creature types. It's kind of interesting. See, look, it's like a giant battleship, except it's on the ground with tank treads.
Mission.
Okay, this one's tough. I mean, Aisha's the only one I can really kind of get to survive here, because she could actually air dash. But now I got the tanks out here. I didn't have that before, so The boss kind of slowly creeps forward. You got a few cycles to level up, but you're still gonna have to contend with the dudes that are gonna rush in here in a second. Which eventually they're gonna do here. There they are. They come from behind where the base would normally, or the boss would normally be. Okay, so let's get. Let's start with a tank. Let's get Aisha out there. So I'm gonna have to start watching them a little more closely because it's got this giant turret. She's gonna die. They all die. They all get wrecked by that big cannon. She can at least be in the air, though. That's the only thing I know of, at least right now, with my initial plays. So the knockback matters too. So that kind of slows down some of the advance. See, and we're also maxed out at 350 here. Something that I don't really run into later because you can't keep stuff going fast enough. Now we get a whole mess of it out there. She hasn't respawned yet. It's going to pull out that big gun here in a second to destroy them all. Wow, the tanks actually survived. Didn't use anything beefy enough last time. Okay, she's ready. So I got to watch hers. I don't want to use her ability until that thing gets ready to shoot again. There it goes. Alright, using her ability. May kill her anyway. Nope, she survived. Now she died. It's alright. Reinforcements are coming. I haven't quite maxed out the... Oh, hey, we finally used Eldorado. He doesn't die. There he is. Fat Iron Man. Now, his ability will put him in the air, but we'll get this other slug out there, too. He must have a longer warm-up time unless I use it already. There we go. Definitely didn't get that first try last time.
Thank you.
And an S rank. Okay. So, I can keep playing this indefinitely, but it's a good point to get through the first couple, and then we'll do some more miscellaneous stuff before we're done, though, but this game does increase in difficulty, that's for sure. Okay, so, yeah, all this talking about all this action going on, I'm like, I don't really care. Then you got all these anime waifu chicks that they put in, you know, and that was probably one of their biggest... It's a game that came out of Japan, so you can understand what they're doing to get the player base. So it's like you go from Metal Slug of military dudes into crazy amounts of anime chicks. I mean, there's other stuff like the vehicles and all kinds of crazy stuff too, but I think a lot of that had to do with the pull for their audience. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can at least get some of those S medals on the ones we already did. Otherwise, let's see what happens after that. Okay, so let's use as many medals as we got here. Get everything upgraded. We're at level 5. Okay, robot, mummy dog, alien, laser, mortar. I got really stuck on level 8 in Mexico. I tried using those, or struggling through Mexico. I don't know what I was doing. Ooh, Aisha upgrade. Maybe. Crab. Giant crab thing. There's a level, the Galapagos Islands. That you get swarmed by those. Tank, drone, locust. A robot that pulls its own levers. Should get a free one here pretty soon. Ostrich, normal Tarma, green dude, cowcatcher. Alright, give us the free one after this. Harry. Didn't have that yet. No, there's 2 of those aliens in different colors. Nope, no free one. Yet. Probably next time. Alright. Level up. Oh, check for medals. Music. Oop. Okay. Level up. Customize. All right, Ares eligible. So 1,300 HP. And 132. Come down 5. She's now 1,400. So she's now at 95 where Marco is. Alright, having her upgrade is good, so she's at 3,300. So you can already see her health for being 50% more, or her AP is 160. So, you know, about 60% more than Marco and Aerie, and she's got twice as much health already. And then once you get past that, start looking at damage, so I didn't spend time looking at damage until later, because once I started getting stalled on having high HP stuff, and I'm like, alright, how do I start killing stuff before it kills me? So I didn't even start looking at attack points until later on. So she's at the 220s. I'll come back to Marco here after I do that. So she's going to get another 300, so she's getting another 10% and come down to 152. She's still got 2 more levels after that, of course. So let's go to Marco here. So Marco's attack power, 373, 264. So she's on par with Marco, but her special is a little bit less. So we'll spend more time in the weeds on the numbers maybe later on. Now, hopefully not too much, because, I mean, like I said, it's just overwhelming. Well, at least, yeah, see, there's 2. We got both the gray and this reddish-purple looking thing here. Don't really care. I mean, only doing this for the sake of completion and metals, because some of these units I'm highly unlikely to use unless being extremely curious on alternate strategies or something. I'm gonna get really stuck. Like the drone here, or locusts, like, just flies at you and attacks you. I don't know. I was able to use the bear a little bit. That's another 900, so that thing's now in the 10,000 range. Mummy dog. This one's just kind of funny. Might use that eventually. How expensive is he? 67. He's cheap. Alright, so that's all we got. Everybody's leveled up there. Let's go back to the base this time instead of wasting land on characters like I did. So let's get this. Level that. Okay, so we're up to 10, so we got 5 more levels. We can start doing anything with that again. Can't do that one, so let's go deployment speed first. Okay, so we go to 7. Got 700 left. We can do exactly 700. Oh, wait. Oh, we're at 655. Okay. Okay. It's better. Change the deck. Maybe. Kind of like where we're going with this, but... still a form. I started using the former because, I mean, this one ended up starting having a lot of health and some high damage, but it's so expensive. You know what? Let's drop one of these. Yeah, let's drop that for the former. So the former is bigger than that. Okay, so we don't have enough money really to upgrade that. Well, actually, you know what? We can still do some of this, but actually... Oh, so check this out. This is actually good. We'll be able to roll him over for one, at least on this episode. So this will complete him. It's a carrot or radish? Carrot. So we got 1 carrot. We're now going to unlock his first skill, which mostly these are mega stat buffs. So, and you can level this up relative to whatever your character level is, so probably won't be able to do much without having the cash. We've only got, oh, we got 355, so it's going to increase his overall damage output. So we can only go up to level 5, but that's okay. See, early in the game, these guys are okay, but I found, like, once I start getting into hard points, it's like, they're so squishy, they die so easily. So now his equipment thing is going to switch over to this block, and then that will open up the second skill. And you can see by having a 1 star means you've got the first skill locked. Nothing too fancy there, but I'm going to want to put as much as possible probably into him, Aerie, and Aisha. Whoever's going to be... be the most durable. Maybe like some of the tanks, like the former or something. So one other aspect I can do here is put favorites on them. So let's do... Oops, that's the display mode. So I'm going to put a favorite marker on her, and probably on the former. So I don't have to keep flipping through and trying to find them. And I passed it, didn't I? There it is. Alright, so if I exit out and come back in, those are not going to... So they're up front. I mean, we're going to use all the rest of these anyway, so, like, at least these early Peregrine Falcons, but... Okay, so let's go back to the old stuff for a sec. We'll try a couple attempts at that, and then otherwise we'll be getting close to wrapping for this episode. More music. Oh, missed something in there. This is all about the dopamine hits. They want to give you all this fun little stuff to unlock and keep you playing it. I mean, it doesn't matter as much in a standalone game, but for the mobile side, like, they want you playing this as long as possible. More opportunity to sell you stuff. Especially when there's no increase in workload on their part, when all it is some digital pluses and minuses. Alright, green shield guy. Different colored zealot. Ah, the Mars tank, one of the Mars tanks, and another crustacean. These things are goofy. I mean, you'd think that might be super powerful, but its HP is not super fantastic. Gorilla. Oh no, we already had him. There's the gorilla captain out there somewhere, and having the former is good. That's one of the ones we want. Come on, where's our free one at? Ooh, perfect. 2 for Aisha, 1 for Airy, unless it's clone Airy. Nope, it's clone Airy. Yeah, no free one. Where is it? Alright. Take care of those real quick. See? Addicting. Ooh, I just gotta upgrade this, and this, and this. Alright. Oh, that wasn't enough for her. Okay. That's too bad. Mars tank. And grenade guy, we don't really care. Mars people don't really care. Mars people cadre. Smiling and got a different laser gun. This thing. Invader. Okay, and this is alright, no new cash. No new quests. Back to Vietnam. Back to the first one. Let's try this again, see if we can rip through this or not. So you're still limited by your action points. So it is possible to get S, but the thing is, we're still sitting at basic level action point generation. It's like you need the time advantage, and right now it's still slow. So we'll send Mr. Shank in real quick here, see if that gives us any kind of time advantage, but he's got to really move if he's got the health points. Now you see he died already. Not gonna get done any faster. Let's get Marco in there. We're the mortar guy. So they're dying. Get in there. Oh, we got it. I wasn't paying attention to the base health. Survey says. There we go. Alright. Okay, so we got all those. Let's see if we can get the ones on China that we're missing here. We got 2 on the last, so S is on the harder ones, hypothetically.
Mission start.
Alright, here we go.
Okay. Okay.
Shank him. Or to shoot him. Alright, we'll leave his attack till we get closer. The shield guys, they're like more of a defensive thing. Use it once you're actually close to getting in trouble there. Alright, let's see if I can do anything. Yeah, laser through him. Score a hole in him. Oh, now we got the laser shooting at us. Get Aisha. Oh, actually get the tank in there. He's gonna die. Maybe not. Alright, now we can get Aisha. Alright, get the Metal Slug zipping past. Clear him out. Fire on him. I think we got it. She can just wreck it with her projectile, if not, at least get that thing out of there. Cut a hole in it. Yeah, look at that. Just cuts a hole in the thing.
Mission complete.
Thank you.
Alright. Okay, 2 more if we can get them. Without too much difficulty here.
Mission start. Okay.
Rip through the mortar guys. Elimination there real quick or something.
Okay.
On average, I'd say it's probably about 3 to 4 cycles of upgrading before they'll start moving something enough to have an impact. So it's already great that we got her upgrade because she's now only cost 152 instead of 160. She should survive enough to get through some of these guys. Look at that, cut right through them. Get the tank in there to back her up if she doesn't die. There we go. Now she's got some coverage. Look at that. And then we'll back her up in the area. Upgrade. Oh, now she died. Yeah, cut him. Oh, laser. Thin him out. Send another one in. Laser him. Send another area. Send a Marco. Send a Tarma. I said the backward move. Bunch of areas, bunch of tanks. You know, take care of work. Oh, yeah. He's gonna watch the base go, dun.
Thank you.
And there's an S. One more.
Mission start.
Mission. Alright, so we got shield guys and bikes, was it?
Okay. Okay.
So we got through this one. Let's gotta get through it quicker.
Okay.
Alright, we'll send the Shanker in area if we can. Actually, it's Karma. And a... Boom! Marco up there. Another Karma. There we go. Blow up the bike. Laser him. Oh, she's not ready yet. There we go. Laser him. Upgrade. Alright, come on, Aisha. You're next. Clear him out. Then we'll take. Laser gun. Cut right through that. And done.
Mission complete.
Is it fast enough?
Thank you.
Yep, it is. And we get a lot of mice and a boot for our cause. For our efforts. Alright, check that out. So, we got all S's on Vietnam and China, and then get started on Egypt next. I don't think Egypt was the problematic one. Oh, you know what? I got stalled a little bit because we already started getting hitting mummies and choppers. So I think because I know enough, I think we'll be okay. But it took a few tries. This was like probably the first, other than the the one with the tanks and the mechs already. This was the next one to cause a problem, but I think we'll be okay. I'm not going to try it just yet. So, we got money to spend. Might as well spend it before we go. Might have metals to spend. Spend that before we go. Nope. Icon. Nope. Nope. Okay, build up the base. Okay, so that's a 10. Let's get this up to right on the edge. So now we're maxing out the amount of stuff we get. And 700, just enough to get to level 8. 77 left over. Any of these? Nope, 100. Alright, nothing to really customize if we have nothing else there. Don't need to change the deck around. And let's check if we got any other new icons, just for something to talk about. So, I don't even know who most of these characters are, so they're giving all this weird stuff. So here's zombie versions of all these, so you then get to see, like, oh, there's Hydern and Whip, and so I don't know if these were playable characters in the other ones, but it's like, they're not in this base game if they are, so it's interesting they give you zombified versions of the Ikari characters, but I mean, there is zombie versions, at least the main Peregrine Falcons, so there's some of these other characters who are not yet playable, or I don't know who they are. There's the girl that shows up for the recruitment. This is one of the guys who was in the first game. It's kind of funny. Go home to mama. You are mincemeat. These are normal versions of the King of Fighters characters. This is the dude you rescue. Okay. No new bases yet. No new music. Nothing new here. So, can't change that yet. Can't change the base yet. Alright. Okay. So, I think... That is it. So I've been kind of looking forward to firing that up for you. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing this. I guess, let me detour here for a second. I think when I first saw it, the ratings were probably in the 4s, but I think it's down to like 3.7, at least on the PSN store. I mean, I can kind of understand why this is not like stellar. Again, it's a mobile game that's been compressed into console form, so not a lot of depth other than like the strategies you got to use. I have enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy doing that, and obviously I'm spending more time focusing on other things that, you know, more introductory, but we'll probably be speeding through more stuff for a while, and then I'll get more into strategy and stats and things as we get going. With it being a new game, I mean, hey, if anything can help, you know, give some strategies for other people who are curious about it to check it out. And I'm not, you know, paid or endorsed by, Sony or SNK in any way. So, I want it to do well enough to make sure that they're going to hopefully get the DLC content. Beyond that, I don't have any other personal investment in this other than my completionist self wants to get through all eligible story stuff, at least unlock characters. Whether I would go through the task of leveling or maxing them all out, I have no idea, but that would take a while. And there's probably a lot of grinding still involved on the other side, because, man, there was some stuff that was a lot of repeat for a while, and I'm hoping with enough game knowledge, hopefully I can minimize some of that for you guys, so we're not watching us just, like, hunt for those items and go back and forth quite a bit. But we'll see. So hopefully you enjoy this. I hope it was a solid introduction for you. Let me just do a check here, see if anybody's hanging out. I don't know if the Odysee one is somebody or me, but thanks for hanging out. If it's not tracking my click on that, you may have had some people on Twitch, and I see we had some check-ins over on YouTube. So I appreciate everybody's been hanging out and checking in with us. As far as schedule for the rest of the week, pretty much business as usual for the rest of the summer hours. We will be doing Warriors Orochi tomorrow, MechWarrior 5 on Thursday, and likely be back on some Turtles on Friday. So that's the current plan, unless anything changes. In the meantime, have a fantastic one. See you soon.